You ready?
Not loud.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Emmy Hildebrandt. I was Emmy Wagner when I came up on this hill, and I think we moved up here somewhere around 1909 from Seattle and Germany, and came right to Potrero Hill to uh, Utah Street between 18th and 19th, and have been here ever since. When the freeway came, we moved our houses back and up in the air, and we're still here. And we have all these pictures of the families and everything, and all the people on the hill where we went to Buena Vista School in 1909 and 10, 11, 12, and then from there to Patrick Henry when it was built, and from Patrick Henry to Mission Grammar, and from Mission Grammar to Mission High School, or the other way to St. Peter's to the Catholic schools, and I'm still here. Out in the back when we moved the cottage, from the right there is the house that the state highway employee George Dorsey stole off of us, which my mother had gotten from the state highway as part of our deal. You think it's funny to have them steal a house like that and pick it up and turn it around and take it and live in it and thumb your nose at it. That's what the state highway department did to us.
You're missing the picture.
Right there. That's exactly what he did. He told all movers to stay away and picked it up and turned it around, and it's still over there. And you should go over there and get a picture of it. It's right around the corner. He stole it. I have him arrested and thrown in jail, and he had to go to Germany in the army for 2 years for doing it. But that didn't stop him from doing it anyway. So this is just a tenant upstairs that broke her leg, and then I fell down those stairs and knocked all my teeth out on the concrete and was in the hospital and a broken person for a long time there. Bad accidents on account of this stuff. So,
What year?
this was around 1955 or 60. So that was just a tenant upstairs who was living with them. She was Mexican and he was something or other, a sheet metal worker. And he smashed her and knocked her down and broke her legs. And here's the way we had to go into the apartment up on the step ladder for 2 years. 2 years up the front here. Oh, was that funny? One time I got bombed out and got halfway up and couldn't go one way or the other. This is moving the cottage then after a while. We were the last ones to sign up with the state. Everybody else signed up. Many of them, the state highway division people never got into. They just paid them without going ever into the houses, because the owners of the houses just opened up their windows and dumped buckets of hot water on them. They just mailed them a check. Miserable, nasty people. That's George, and then pulling the roof off of the cottage to move it from the highway property back onto the lot that it's on now. Made a mistake putting that same tilted roof like that. It should have been a flat roof by that time. Now that's setting up the cottage just before the freeway opened. All a mistake, all total losses. Terrible losses. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of losses here because of their attitude. As I say, you can edit as much as you want to out of this to take a lot of that out, but This is what has happened here on this piece of property. We battled them right to the end, and I still are, for that matter. They're still a very bad outfit. That's why they had to change the name of it from Division of Highways to some other new name, because they're so bad. It was in the Chronicle. It was a big editorial, a whole column of it. Now we're getting down to where they're really pulling out their thorns here and trying to get that together now that we got the cottage off of their land. Got the roof back on again. Bad. Really bad things you have to do, you know, when you're pinched like that. Really bad. A roof like that is no good for nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I had to do it that way because that was what was holding the floors up in the way they built them in those days. That's George working, painting and spackling and making it into first-class condition because he was a first-class painter. So here we are, getting ready for the opening of the freeway. Still working on the freeway there? Are we still working on the freeway there? Mm-hmm. Not ready for an opening yet. Doing everything wrong down there with their hairpin turn, with all those dozens and dozens of people who were killed down on the freeway because of their rotten engineering. Bad, bad engineering with that hairpin turn there. It's amazing how many people have been injured, hundreds and hundreds of them, and many of them killed in the accidents down on the freeway. Now that's bulldozing down the front in front of our cottage, not leaving us enough space at all in the back there for anything to improve our property with, just chopping it down right as wherever they felt like. That's 18th and San Bruno, 18th and Utah. Chopping off, chopping off. These were all on my camera? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Well, we had no money. Not any. They just ruined us right down to where we didn't even have any gas, lights, water here. And not a penny of money. We had to eat fruits and vegetables and whatever people gave us. Not a nickel. Everybody deserted us, the whole family. All my family. Brothers, sisters, mother, children, everybody deserted us completely. And we never had one nickel. George and I, when we got up on movers' blocks and sat here. Not a nickel, not a penny, and nothing to eat. Absolutely nothing to eat. One of our friends, Babcock, used to bring us just some fruit and little things to eat here. Now, and this was a period of 10 years now. This was just not 5 minutes here. This was a 10-year period where we sat on movers' blocks with not a friend in the world, just George and I, alone, upstairs, with a stepladder to go in. And we couldn't leave it because at nights they were prowling around here stealing everything. Stealing every brick on you. You brought lumber and they'd steal the lumber. You brought nails and they'd steal the nails. And we were upstairs without any way to come down here, except on that stepladder. That's John Commissar. He was living across the street, and he came by here. He was the Russian man who was the janitor down at the 4th Street Bridge with Varian. Herb Varian. You know the Varian? Yes, you do. They're on the stock exchange. He's a multimillionaire, Herb Varian. And he was the engineer, and this was John Commissar, the janitor. And he'd get so drunk, Varian would, they didn't know where he was. So Commissar would get a cab and bring him up here, and he'd sleep on our Chesterfield in the afternoon and sleep off his drunk, and he was just down here watching us down there. Who's the bald-headed guy? Who's that? Well, he was part of that down there. Isn't that interesting? Now, you're going to edit this very carefully. The lot of this that's, like I say, the history of the family and all that, which is a disgrace beyond anything. An absolute disgrace. 10 years we sat here with me with every tooth in my head knocked out, falling down the stairs where that woman was before, you remember? See how wide that is on the out there? See how wide that is? Now it's down to the fence through their neglect. It's right up to the fence through their neglect. Putting up that fence where they did. Yeah, that's all abutting up there. I've given this to several attorneys, and they all said, oh, you got a good case against them, you can sue them for several $1 million, but I'm too old. Right? I've had the battle. Now let somebody else fight it, because they're not going to get anything out of this property. This property is going to be a zero that nobody is going to get a nickel out of it because it's not worth a nickel. Not worth anything. Isn't that amazing? Now there they are with their fence up against us. You see it's falling away out in front where they're up to the fence here. They're 4 feet in, and in order to have the cottage it has to be 6 feet. So that's all out. It's fallen down to the fence, and the fence is laying over from there down. Remember we wanted a wall a few months ago? Mm-hmm. Well, all those jerks here on San Bruno Avenue said they didn't want a wall.
Is this Potrero Avenue?
Down there at the end, yeah, that's over there was Potrero Avenue. Now they're getting ready to put, get the freeway going. You're only interested in the freeway. You're not interested in way back and only the history of any of this.
What do you think's relevant?
Well, it's all relevant. That would never have been that way if this company hadn't cut down in front of us and out. Oh, that was my favorite chick, and she used to come in and sit on the Chesterfield and greet everybody, and a duck. Our ducks. They keep the yard clean. That was when I had that 3 or 4 years with all my teeth knocked into my head, inside, into the roof, and down. I swallowed a lot of them when I fell down these terrazzo steps here. Horrible thing for about 5 years. Had to have the teeth cut out one at a time out here because they were broken off. Now where are we? Out in front? That's all out there in front, all the debris and everything, where they tortured my mother so much with this freeway going through. Writing great big sign on it. What was that? Gangs coming and tearing down her doors and...
Who are these kids?
I don't know. Where are we?
They're scooting under a fence.
They're all out here, I guess, huh? Up in front. I don't know, I can't see where we are. Are we just taking pictures of San Francisco? This is so interesting to anybody. Like I say, it's your festival. I'd like to see it and explain a lot of it. Be fun, won't it? Now here we are at the opening. And of course, very few people came to the opening because they hated this freeway so much with all that state highway department's lying and treachery. Just absolute treachery, thieving and robbing everybody. So very few people went to it. And there was John, the commissar again. We're standing up, and isn't that George? Yeah, that's my George.
Is that Lick Wilmerding High School in the background? There you are.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think they had already torn McWilmerding down. The beautiful schools. Oh, what gorgeous buildings down there. Those miserable slobs tearing those buildings down. The state, to put up an office for themselves. Oh, I would think there were 4 gorgeous buildings there. Now, we're at the opening of the bridge. We're at the opening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All strangers there. Even the mayor didn't want to come. What is that?
Now, isn't that Lick Wilmerding?
It could be.
And the older building?
It could be. I don't know. What's that, the band?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, they're always good at that, aren't they? If anybody asks a question and wants to say anything, well, they turn on that lousy thing to drown you out. These are all strange people. Nobody from the Hill was there. That's one of the supervisors, isn't it? Big deal. Is that the cars for the opening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Waiting to
A
come.
jam up, and it's never done anything else but jam up since then, with people being murdered and killed out there because of that hairpin turn going around here, with no barriers in between, all head-ons all night.
He's
No.
about to cut the chain to open.
Who is that? The mayor? Is that Robinson? He was such a nice mayor. A real sweetheart. He didn't want to come either. He was a very good friend of mine. Yeah. That was the cutting of it. Big deal.